Good morning, Bulldogs. Please stand for the morning ceremony. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hope you guys had a great weekend. A couple of highlights. First of all, we had some positive referrals handed in last week. Carl Petrillo, Gabe Penapino, and Lucian Hildreth all had positive referrals from their teachers, and they're all for basically the same thing. All three of these students have been given tremendous effort in their classes, and not only showing great effort, but also accomplishing great thing in the classes. So congratulations to you three, and keep it up. Once again, I know many of you have heard over the weekend and the past week, we have had our fourth case this year, positive case of a student having COVID in the middle high school. All four of the cases this year have been contracted outside the school. And just a reminder that if you are having any symptoms, you need to make sure you stay home and do not come to school. If you're having any COVID symptoms or if you're sick in any way, make sure you stay home and contact the nurse. Let your parents know, and the nurse will help you out and what you do from there. But make sure you are not coming to school if you're having any symptoms whatsoever. And realize that quarantining is working. Even in the Gammon household, we've had some quarantines going on. And because of our quarantining prevention, what we have in place, no one has contracted the virus while at school. And when they've been quarantining, we haven't had anyone who has contracted the virus who's been out on quarantining. So things are working. And we need to make sure that we continue to follow the guidelines. We're not asking a lot. We're just asking that those of you that are here in person, that you wear a mask that covers your nose and your mouth. You're where you need to be at all times. You go straight to class. When you're in class, you're social distancing or you're utilizing the barriers. And you're wearing your mask. I recommend you wear your mask all day, except for when you have those short breaks. Obviously, when you're eating, make sure that you're social distancing and you're behind barriers. Make sure you're following the one-way hallways and you're leaving class during the zone for your color, and just continue to be disciplined. We know that there's been a little bit of a wave of students going remote, and I know with everything going on in the world, I completely understand. And with the holidays coming up and Christmas before us, I know families are making those choices, and just know that with our blended instruction model that we put in place this year, that it allows for students to go remote and still keep up on their schoolwork, just like they're in person. So obviously families can make those own decisions and it's best for their family. With everything going on this past month in the school year, everything we're being asked to do, for our older generation, our grandparents, our current grandparents, maybe think of my own grandparents, and specifically my grandmother's sister, Aunt Helen, was someone I visited often. She lived in Canandaigua, and we would go and visit her and go to Kellogg's for lunch. She was just a great individual, and I spent a lot of time talking with her over the years, and she was someone I really respected. And she's someone who was born in 1900, and she passed away right before her 100th birthday, so she passed away in 1999, and we often talked about what she had seen in her lifetime, and it just made me think of her when we're talking about protecting and being safe for older generations. It made me think of her and who she was when I was growing up and how much she meant to me, and also what she shared and what she had gone through in her lifetime. And just a little snippet of what my Aunt Helen went through in her lifetime, being born in 1900, that when she was about your age, for many of you, she was 14, World War I started and went until she was 18, most of her teenage years. And during that time, 22 million people perished. And that same year, the Spanish flu epidemic hits, and over the next 2 years, 50 million people die worldwide. And when she's 29, the Great Depression hits, and our country almost collapses during that time, over those 4 years. And when she was 39, World War II started, and over the next 6 years, 75 million people perished worldwide. And there's the smallpox epidemic that went until she was in her 40s, and during that time, over 300 million people died. She was 50, the Korean War started, and most of her life she dealt with the fear of polio epidemics. Even her husband contracted polio. And at 55, Vietnam War began and didn't end for over 20 years. And when she was 62, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis, where life on our planet almost ended. So born in 1900, it was no surprise that Helen was a really cool individual and someone I really enjoyed talking to, because she She had to endure a lot. And when I was a kid, I might have thought that she didn't understand what I was going through or how tough my life was at the time, but she had an inner strength that meant a lot to me. And now I know why, because she survived everything listed above. And it really helps to put things in perspective, because my grandparents, my Aunt Helen, were called to endure a lot in their lifetime. And your grandparents and the older generation today have gone through similar things, and we need to keep them safe. And we're just being asked to wear a mask, social distance, and help to keep them healthy and safe. So stay safe, Bulldogs, and continue to do what we need to do to protect that older generation. Today's quote, something I'm reminded of often we go through this, is great events sweep ordinary people up, expose them to extremes of human behavior, and unimaginable tests of integrity and courage, and then deposit them back on the front lines, stronger and better. Be strong, Bulldogs. Have a great day.